The crickets are worse, y'all. I don't know what to do about these crickets. I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna do a somewhat quick segment for me. One topic, and maybe I'll play the music in the background. It can't hurt. I'm inundated with crickets. They're driving me insane. I might have to call an exterminator or something. Every year I say that, and I'm like, do I want to pay that money? It's worse. Like I feel like I'm in a bed of crickets. Like they're all over the place. I don't even see them. What's up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Ray Studios? And I'm just gonna get into the topic here. Play the music a little bit. I don't even know what the levels. I might have a way to do better background noise filtering out, but it's very hard. The perils of adherence to authority, the perils of putting all your eggs in one basket, in one company, one organization, that is the Democratic Incorporated. It causes problems. And we're seeing it in Chicago. This is a proposal that I'm going to talk about. And I'm working on articles for Middle Mag on this. In the sprawling metropolis of Chicago, where the winds of change are often more like gentle breezes, a new proposal has emerged that epitomizes the city's penchant for misguided solutions. The unwavering support for the Democratic Party in Chicago, it's not just fostering centralized control, it's completely leading people astray. It's a glaring reminder of how early stage communism begins. I don't think I've been quick to call what we're going into communism, but I just mean centralized control. The very community that once rallied against historical chains now inadvertently votes for an organization that seems all too eager to control them. Every solution that they have goes back to more power and more control. So if you can't stand the crickets, if you're not going to stay around, I don't blame you. But here's the too long didn't read. Dems shut down Walmart and Whole Foods in part due to crime-inducing policies in the culture, and they might create a government-run Niggas R Us grocery chain in replacement. Other than that, any questions? Chicago's quest for city-owned grocery stores. Again, this is a proposal. But you can kind of tell. I know how these corporate things work. Like, this is a proposal, but they want it to happen. You ever do that in corporate America? You see that, oh, it's a proposal. Oh, it's a trial run. This isn't a trial run, but it's a proposal. Or it could be in corporate America, a trial run. And you know that means, yeah, we want to do it. We're just going to look and kind of ease you into it. No matter what the results are of the trial run, you see the final product. In a bid to combat the pressing issue of food deserts, Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson has recently introduced a proposal to set up city-owned grocery stores. This is sourced from a plethora of articles, New York Post, ABC Chicago, and multitude of others. Probably 10 different articles sourced for this. The term food deserts refers to regions where residents face challenges in accessing affordable, nutritious food. This proposal emerges against the backdrop of multiple store closures in the city, which have intensified the problem. Let me give some context. So, like, what's happening? What's the context here? Appreciate you stopping by. Melopoly said, dude, did you see all that chaos in NYC? AOC is having a bad week. Yeah. She just needs to do that dance again. Remember, she was on the stage and she was doing the little dance to try to play it off. No, she's good at playing it off. Darth Vader says, imagine the theft levels that will occur in that store. And imagine who's going to pay for it. It's probably going to be you and I. Federal dollars are going to be a part of this. Federal dollars, of course. Of course, federal dollars are a part of this proposal. What's the context? These store closures over the past few years, Chicago has seen the closure of several major retail outlets. Specifically, April 2023, Walmart announced the closure of 4 of its stores in the city. 4 Walmarts. They get their stuff cheap from China. If they can't afford to stay open in your city, you got one hell of a bad city. And they can offset the losses with other stores that are successful. You know, the nice Walmarts, you know, the Walmarts in the areas that you want to live in more, or maybe if you don't want to live in, more likely would want to live in, those Walmarts are profitable and they can offset the losses to the ones that aren't. But it's so bad, they said, nah, we out. This is Walmart. This is Whole Foods, owned by Amazon. These entities are part of the apparatus for the Democratic Party. So if they're saying Portland, if they're saying Chicago, if they're saying San Francisco is a little too wild for us, that's one hell of a statement. Walmart announced the closure of 4 of its stores in April of 2023, as I stated. Furthermore, in November of the previous year, a Whole Foods in Inglewood shut its doors after operating for 6 years, closing 1 year ahead of its 7-year lease expiration. They're like, we got 1 more year in that lease. Let's get out before we even run up against that deadline. The closures predominantly affect the south side of Chicago, an area already grappling with limited grocery options. For instance, the Inglewood neighborhood lost its Whole Foods outlet. That's the one we were just talking about, which had been a significant source of fresh produce and groceries for the local residents. Economic implications. The closures have economic ramifications. You're talking about jobs and other things, tax dollars. Walmart, for instance, cited a lack of profitability as the primary reason for shutting down the Chicago outlets. This raises questions about the sustainability of large retail chains in certain urban areas. Demographics and income. The areas impacted by these closures, such as the South Side, have diverse demographics. Well, that actually, they don't. I have to double check that one. That's ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to get me the demographics for it. They couldn't. I didn't have time to go in Wiki and get it. And these are black areas is what it is. So, I mean, it could be diverse on side of the blackness. There's obviously diversity and there's different cultures. And I know there's Latinos and all kinds of different things. But they are the ones that tout the food deserts being against marginalized communities. And that's what we're talking about here. Inglewood, for example, has faced economic challenges. This is the same state, by the way, that is eliminating cash bail throughout the whole state. We'll see how that experiment goes. That will be for another segment. With many residents in Inglewood relying on these major stores for their daily needs, the closure of such outlets exacerbates the issue of food accessibility in these neighborhoods. So let's look at these areas that are having all these crimes. Let's go back to the summer of love. Black Lives Matter riots and store closures. Walmart temporarily closed all of its Chicago locations in 2020 during the Black Lives Matter riots. After the Black Lives Matter riots acted, Walmart and other stores faced challenges in certain Chicago neighborhoods. Major chains closed. Walmart, as we stated, Whole Foods, but then not just them too. Other big chains like Starbucks, CVS have also closed stores in major cities, including Chicago. We know Apple was affected too, as they got looted. So George Floyd, in their minds, got kneed out and people ran up into the Apple stores to steal. Was that out of frustration or celebration? Reasons for closures. High crime rates and retail theft have been cited as significant reasons for the closure of stores in certain Chicago neighborhoods. It's just reparations. And that's not a quote from me. That's from a Black Lives Matter leader. I forget her name. You might have heard that quote, played it on the show. Some leaders in Chicago have raised concerns about the closures, suggesting that they deepen the issue of food deserts. So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure I have everything accurate. The Democrat-induced policies support crime. They basically introduce and exacerbate the problems of crime. The voters of those areas vote for the Democrat Party. They're voting for their own demise. So their stores aren't taken care of. They're voting for the wrong policies. The same people who enacted the policies and the same people who voted for the people who enacted the policies are now complaining that the stores who Amazon, Walmart, fully on board with Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, they're mad that they have to leave now. Ray Studios with the super chat says, you're going to use my notes for an article on your site? For sure. Are you talking about the one we did the other day? Did you send that to me? Absolutely. Get you credit and everything. Anytime, if you want to do any article for the site, it doesn't matter. Let me know. I can upload it in 2 seconds. Yeah, hit me up. I'm fine with anybody who wants to do that. Thanks for the super chat, Ray. As always, the homie Ray. We got to set up another live. So that's the madness that we're in right now. I'm not done yet. Going back to my unfinished draft of probably multiple articles this would have to be. So the leaders in Chicago that supported the people who voted for the Democrats, there are Democrats, they supported Black Lives Matter. They are raising the concerns about the closures, the same people. So the arsonist who set the fires, hypothetically, is now complaining that the fire is not being put out properly, is what's happening. Somebody used this analogy that I'm going to steal I saw this on X where they said, stop trying to mop up the first floor when the leak is on the second. So you keep on trying to mop the floor on the first floor, but there's like a bathroom leak on the second floor. We got to stop that. Like the crime, the lack of focus on education, the lack of care for your community, the lack of family values. Guess what? The government ain't fixing that. I think we need to address those things. Everything else is just going to be a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Figuratively and potentially literally. This outline provides a snapshot of, this is my outline here for the Black Lives Matter. What were the Black Lives Matter? Let's take it back one more. I'm going to peel the onion one more bit, and then we'll get back. What was the Black Lives Matter about, the riots about? Well, it was triggered based off of George Floyd. I think it was about more than that. And I think the emotions that were behind that, I think there's a legitimate discussion to be had about those emotions. But I'm not even really in the mood to deal with those emotions that people might have. Let's just deal with the reality of it right now. Between 1997 and 2005, Floyd was convicted of 8 crimes, served time in prison after accepting a plea bargain for a 2007 aggravated robbery in a home. And so he's got this rap sheet. He's been stopped by police or charged at least 19 times in his adult life. Oh, the August 2007 one where Floyd and 5 other men were involved in an incident where they were charged with aggravated robbery. What was that one about? I told ChatGPT, you didn't give me too many details about that one. Give me a little bit more on that. That was the one where he and a group of men forced their way into a woman's home. How did they do that? George Floyd posed as a water repairman to gain entry into the woman's residence. Once inside, he pointed a handgun at the woman's abdomen, threatening her, and I cannot confirm that she was pregnant, but I'm hearing that was a possibility. We do know from the police report, Floyd pointed the handgun at the woman's abdomen, threatening her, and he was convicted of aggravated robbery. The woman was later able to identify Floyd. Floyd's life was tragic, and I don't mean to have a lack of sensitivity to that, but these are the facts. This ain't a person that should be starting riots. And what riots did they start? They started riots that were a domino effect, that now you have big real retail chains. Now those chains are so powerful, you don't have local spots anymore, really. You don't have any, you have, especially after the pandemic, everything was funneled through these big box, the big stores, and online with Amazon. Walmart's online too. They're probably number 2 after Amazon. So it's funneled to them too, and then now them two are out, in part because of the Black Lives Matter protests. What is the proposal? Let's go into a little bit more details here. It's a partnership. Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration is trying to join forces with the Economic Security Project, another one of these nonprofit advocacy groups. This collaboration is localized fascism, aims to delve deep into the logistics and viability of setting up municipally owned grocery outlets. Feasibility study. So this is what they're going to do to justify it. This all is still a proposal. Before any concrete steps are taken, the administration and its partners will conduct a comprehensive feasibility study. The study will assess various factors, including potential locations, operational costs, and the overall sustainability of such an initiative. Objectives here of the pro. So they're very light on the details at this point, but they're just trying to broach the topic. In the minds of the proponents of this, the objective of these city-owned stores extends beyond monetary gains. They envision these stores as community hubs that cater to residents' nutritional needs and contribute to the overall well-being of the community. What I see is the potential, like we've seen in the chat. I think it was Darth Vader or Dark Vader in the chat just said, what do you think the theft is going to be like in these stores? Well, it doesn't matter. It's going to be paid through by the state, Illinois, and the federal government. That's basically it. They're going to have some taxpayer dollars from the local businesses that are still there in Chicago while they're still there. Again, it all comes back to the Federal Reserve. Community health outcomes are hoping, and I hope this is successful. This is not what I would plan for, but I don't have a crystal ball. We'll see how it would work. There are some historical precedents for this that I have looked up, but I wasn't prepared to talk about because I don't know them very well. So I'll maybe do that in another video, but I do wish them the best in Chicago. I don't pretend like I have all the answers. I will say that this doesn't make any sense to me, but if it works, it works. Let's see. The success of these stores will be gauged by not by their profitability, but their impact on community health. Indicators such as increased life expectancy, I think that is obviously a lofty discussion. Enhanced educational outcomes. No, they want you deaf, dumb, and blind. There won't be any enhanced educational outcomes other than you knowing the new pronoun of the week. And a decline in disease rates will serve as benchmarks. I'm sure they will all be COVID compliant. Addressing food deserts. The proposal is rooted in the need to combat food deserts, areas where residents have limited access to affordable and nutritious food options. By establishing city-owned grocery stores, the administration in Chicago hopes to ensure that all residents, irrespective of their socioeconomic status, have access to fresh and affordable produce. Funding and support. This is a very interesting statement. While the exact funding mechanisms are yet to be detailed, it is anticipated that the project will be financed by through a mix of, wait for it, federal and state, and then they say private, which I'm perfectly fine with that, but federal and state dollars. Community involvement. Engaging the community will be crucial. The administration likely plans to seek feedback from residents, local businesses, and other stakeholders to ensure the stores cater to the specific needs of each neighborhood. So this proposal here is, it kind of goes along with the idea of the 15-minute city. If you're going to do the 15-minute city, and that concept is everything is within your realm, you want a grocery store and access to the food right then and there. And what's better to do a 15-minute city than to have everything in the city owned by the government? That sounds communistic to me. I compared it to a plantation. So I'll go a little bit further than that. No whips, no physical threatening from the government, but you got crime and such in the area, which I'll talk to. But slaves worked in controlled environments where their every move was dictated by their masters. In these grocery stores, and they in Chicago, they support trying to squash free speech. They support trying to squash the Second Amendment. Obviously, slaves didn't have free speech, didn't have any right to bear arms or keep or bear arms. And the food was controlled by their masters. And there's no concerns of conflict of interest here. Residents in these areas may feel they live in controlled environments where decisions about their basic needs, like food, are made by the city. Behavioral expectations. Slaves were expected to behave, of course, in a certain manner. What if you are very critical of the government? I think you probably feel a little bit different by walking into a store that's owned by the government. Like, are you going into your city hall shouting from the rooftops that this government sucks, or I need this mayor voted out of office? Probably not. And it's the same thing with your DMV, same thing with your stores. They're doing this stuff in Georgia, and they're doing it in other states where you go to the DMV, you're automatically registered to vote, whether you want it to be or not. That's not how it should work. That's up to the state. I think that should be up to the state, but that ain't how voting should work. If you want to be a part of the process, you take the effort to be a part of the process. You don't automatically get registered in. What's next? Oh, you're a black person in Chicago. Let's just automatically put D's across the board. So there are expectations with that. With that comes fear of speaking out. Do you feel comfortable speaking out when you go into your local Brandon Johnson or Niggas for Us and you see a trans bathroom? You feel comfortable going to the management? Yeah, maybe you would, and maybe you wouldn't. Limited knowledge and awareness. So in these areas, the schools are not the greatest. So instead of focusing on that, we are still here focusing on anything else but that. And of course, it's giving the government more power and control. So you stay deaf, dumb, and blind just like a slave in these areas, and they will continue to exert power over you. Religious suppression. Christianity played a significant role for how many slaves went about their days offering hope and solace. However, their religious practices were often suppressed or controlled. And we know that Chicago is clearly anti-God when you're pressing the trans issue on other people. I did a video on that way back when they started doing it with the schools. And this is an anti-God movement, and there's no term for anti-Christian like there is for anti-Semitism. I don't think they'll have a problem being, hey, this is your trans boy or girl day at the Niggas R Us grocery store. Bring your trans daughter through. Why wouldn't you? Modern enslavement, plantation slaves were physically bound to their masters and the plantation. This argument here is that it's not physically chained, but damn near everything you look around in the city's government owned. Persisting horrors. Slaves obviously faced daily horrors from physical abuse to extreme poverty. That's what you have in these areas. Challenged with crime, ruling by fear and poverty. Why couldn't you do a co-op? Why couldn't you find a way to empower? And some people were saying that here in the community. Why couldn't you find a way to empower the community or entrepreneurs to somehow start their own business? There were tax breaks. The only reason that Walmart and Amazon were there with Whole Foods was because they were getting subsidized. They were getting subsidies and still didn't want to be there. It still wasn't profitable. Why didn't they take the money that they were giving to Walmart and Amazon and create some type of incentive for free market competition? Make a bunch of smaller grocery stores or something like that. I don't know. There's many ideas you could have done other than this proposal. Choosing one's fate. Slaves had no say in their fate, being forcibly brought and kept in bondage. Irony here is that through their votes, the residents are choosing policies that give them no choice. You don't have any choice if you keep voting that D across the board. Corporate reluctance. So I talked about this. This is separate from the slavery comparison. These major corporations are hesitant to go there. I think the message that they're saying is that this is not coming from me. This is from them. They believe black people are just not very smart. You see that the immigration issue, Bernie Sanders back in 2007 said the obvious. He said that immigration, if you allow open borders, there ain't no way that you can keep wages up. So Chicago's deep in that. They're not a border city, of course, or a border state, but they're deep into it. So the Democrats think you're just stupid. I think that's what it is. Let me show you why I say that. Here's Bernie Sanders in 2007. He sounded like the MAGA wing of the Republican Party in 2007.
And that gets us to the immigration issue. If poverty is increasing and if wages are going down, I don't know why we need millions of people to be coming into this country as guest workers who will work for lower wages than American workers and drive wages down even lower than they are right now.
And as we know, the principal industries which hire the bulk of illegal aliens, that is construction, landscaping,
Lou, I just heard something.
Those are all industries in which wages are declining. I don't hear that discussed on the Senate floor by the proponents of this amnesty legislation.
That's right. They have no good response. I just read something today that a lot of people coming into this country are coming in as lifeguards. I guess we can't find, that's right, we can't find American workers to work as lifeguards, and the H-1B program has teachers, elementary school teachers.
Right.
Well, you know.
Yeah, and that H-1B program, we got to watch Senator Ted Kennedy sit there with the sole witness being one Bill Gates, the world's richest man, tell him he wanted unlimited H-1B visas, obviously uninformed as to the fact that 7 out of 10 visas under the H-1B program go to Indian corporations that are outsourcing those positions to American corporations in this country, and that 4 out of 5 of those jobs that are supposed to be high-skilled jobs are actually Category 1 jobs,
that's right,
which is low-skilled.
Well, you raise a good point, and that this whole immigration guest worker concept is the other side of the trade issue. On one hand, you have large multinationals trying to shut down plants in America, move to China, and on the other hand, you have the service industry bringing in low-wage workers from abroad. The result is the same. Middle class gets shrunken and wages go down.
So that's Bernie Sanders, 2007. And now that Bernie Sanders, if he were to talk to his old self, he would be a racist. You can have a disagreeing take on immigration, but he clearly understands. He articulated my argument there better than I can. So he clearly understands the other point, but just pretends not to. Chicago recently was an area where people rose up and had concerns about the immigration issue. And you see where it's heading now, to government-owned stores. I called this early stage communism. And somebody replied to me, and they were trying to do a retort to me, and they said, what comes before early stage communism? You go back to history, you go back to Lenin, you go back to Mao, you go back to Castro. Every single time before communism rises into power, it's the same people who acquired the power destroying the previous system so they could blame it on the previous system, capitalism in this case, So you have some of it was a monarchy, depending on where it was. But you had a system. You had people that purposely destroyed the system. Those same people blamed the system that destroyed it. Then they created the new system, which just so happened to give them all the power in the world that they wanted to have. It's the oldest story in the book. And we're seeing it play out here. And that's what's going to happen to our whole country if we don't secede. Metalopoly says some of those Chicago schools get way more funding than most. So why are they so terrible? Maybe if they get more money, it will help. That's what I'm like. Yeah, maybe if you give me more money, then maybe it will help. That's probably what they would say. Like, oh, you're not giving me enough money. Just like Zelensky floated through. So Zelensky floated through and he's like, yeah, that war is not going so well, but maybe if you give me some more money, more Ukrainians will die and we'll get more yachts and we'll break off some more people, get some more cars as well. That's based. Metalopoly says, gotta admit it, as soon as the black community started turning against the Democrat Party, the Dems had replacement voters all lined up, illegal immigrants. It's evil, sure, but you got to give them credit. That's where I'm at too, Metalopoly. You have to give them credit. It's so smooth. They're like, we don't. I talked about that when a good amount of self-described black people didn't take the vaccine. This has been in the works well before that, but when they saw that, they were like, we might need to open up those borders like a lot. And now you just see people just filing through. Like, it's when we say that the borders are open from the street reporting, I mean, maybe I'll just grab a quick one. Like, we saying the borders are open. I mean, it's just wide open. I'm gonna show a little bit of clip. There's a lot of Fox News is actually doing pretty good. They've got some good reporters doing stuff on the border, but I really like the street kind of just the normal everyday person out there. So they're lined up. I'm gonna show this video here. There's immigrants lined up. Wow. Let me get this clip here. And it's like, I mean, just watch this. What is going on? Let me show. I'm not showing it yet. I'm looking at it. I'm kind of stunned. This is the border, y'all. This is from Fox News. Benny Johnson posted this. He said, watch, Borden agents accidentally reveal wide open border as Fox News cameras were rolling. It's just niggas just filing into the country.
Emily.
Oh, here you go. You got people coming in now. Take a look at this. A lot of young adult men being let through now.
What is going on?
So every person who was just let through is appears to be a single adult male. Brian, if we can turn around really quick. I don't know if they're all with the same group. Let me try.
They're single, able-bodied, war-age men, military-age men.
They ask them really quick. Hola.
Okay.
That reminds me of Afghanistan. Remember Afghanistan when they were literally falling off of planes? Oh, I wasn't showing my video. Remember Afghanistan when they were literally, I'm going to show the video again. When they were falling off the plane, it was George Costanza in Seinfeld when he pushed the women and children out the way to get out of the apartment when the fire alarm went off. It's all like 20 to 30 men, 20 to 30 years old. They pushed the women and children out of the way, and you looked at the cargo bay, and it was like 90% military-age men. And I'm like, where's the women and children? Wouldn't you let them go first? Nah. They pushed them out the way like, we out here. We out of here. Let me play that video again, then I'll get to the Ray Super Chat.
¿Dónde son? ¿De dónde son?
Ghana.
Ghana. You're from Ghana. Okay.
They're from Ghana.
You're from Haiti.
Haiti.
You're from Haiti. And why did you decide to come right now?
All right.
Why did you decide to come right now?
The state.
¿Por qué estás viniendo? ¿Por qué decidiste venir aquí ahora en los Estados Unidos?
Yo vivía en Chile.
You live in Chile?
He lives in
But
Chile.
you're from Haiti?
I'm from Haiti, so I'm living down in Chile for 5 years.
Okay, so why did you decide to come?
Yo quiero venir ahí en Estados Unidos y allá es donde estaba en Chile.
He says he wants to live here in the United States.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Where is everybody else from? Hay alguien aquí que
Do you
puede
know what the
hablar inglés?
Constitution is?
Where? Haiti? Haiti? Why did you decide to come here? Pardon?
You said Brazil.
Brazil. You're from Brazil.
He was living in France.
Got it. Okay. How?
She is Asian people.
Guys,
Got it.
you realize this is the, I mean, this is the end
okay,
of the
so it sounds like
country.
we got a mix of Haitian.
You don't come back from this.
Saying they want to live
When
here
I
in the
say
United
that, I
States.
mean
Some
of the
speak English,
culture.
some speak Spanish. So, apologies, guys. Just trying to figure it out as we go here. But yeah, you can see that this is a group of what I don't know.
Why
about
are they
15 or
wearing
so
masks
men who were just
outside?
let through. We got some more being let through right now. And the thing is, everybody has a different story when they come through. You think everybody's kind of from the same country, the same block, same situation, and that's not always the case. And you can see another group being let through now.
They just roll it through the country. Well, the country lets people roll through. I guess the whole West is doing this now. Could you imagine? Could you imagine niggas trying to roll up in China like this? They'd be like, "Are you crazy?" They're just rolling up in here calmly, wearing masks outside. Where you from? Ghana? Where you from? Haiti? Where you from? Brazil? Why are you coming here? Because I want to. You have any criminal records? Or like, do we know who you are? Do you have, like, who are you? Could you imagine just a bunch of niggas run up in your crib? You're like, what the hell is going on? Who are you? Get out. No, that's the country right now. Ray says, respect more Saddam Hussein versus Robert E. Lee. Oh, Robert E. Lee. Is that a, I mean, I think that's Ray was trying to do one to kind of set it up. Robert E. Lee was a brilliant military strategist. I actually don't know that much about Saddam Hussein, so I don't know much about him. I'm not real good with geopolitics. That's not my strong point. I just know niggas shouldn't be just walking up in your crib. I think I'm just a dumb guy in my basement. I'm not. I don't purport myself to be like smart or anything like that. I just think it's probably, thanks for the super chat, Ray. I just think it's probably not a good idea to let random Negroes up in your crib. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a radical racist. I'm a radical dark-skinned racist. You know what? Let those niggas in. Some of them had darker skin than me. There's not too many that have darker skin than me. Let them in. I'm good with that. So they're just letting in people with purple skin from Ghana. You got Asian. You got a whole bunch of other. I've been watching all the videos. They got a bunch of people. They're like, where are you from? You from China? I'm like, what? We're just letting random Chinese people in. Why are you here? I don't know what's going on. Remove the face. At least David Ray says remove the face diapers. My goodness. Do you know? I want to ask. If I were at the border, I would ask them. Well, do you know how many states there are? Do you know how many original colonies were there? Do the numbers 1776 ring a bell to you? Do you know what these things are? Do you know what your Second Amendment right is? Do you know what your First Amendment right is? Do you know what the Bill of Rights are? I don't care if you came from Norway. I don't care if you came from Australia. I don't care if you came from South Africa. I don't care if you came from China. If you don't know those things, get out. Even if you did, we can't handle it. Why are you here? Rick G says, yes, it is the end of the country. Hopefully we can turn it into something new and beautiful. But this is a wrap. This chapter is over. If you're still hanging on to it, then, good luck to you, man. Godspeed. If you're still hanging on to this experiment, this experiment, this 250 year experiment, was amazing. And it's going to set up the next 250 years. But that first chapter, that's the end stage. Like, that's the intermission. We're done. The curtains are closed. It's a wrap. It's over. I said that we should shut down Matt Gaetz and them. They should shut down the government. Complete, full shutdown. And I said it should be shut down. And the big overarching demand is all of these charges dropped. Charges against the Michigan 16, the Georgia, I believe it's Georgia 19, including Trump, the every J6ers, pardon every six J6er, all that. Then we'll reopen the government. And until that, no reopening the government. The country can stop. The government can stop. Somebody replied to me like I didn't know that not all of the charges were federal charges. And shutting down the government until Michigan drops the charges. Yeah. And if you do bring them back or bring back other charges, there will be problems. Yeah, they can do that. Oh, they can absolutely. There's nothing illegal about that. That's why the House controls the purse. When things get crazy, they made this government like the Great Pyramid, like where you see the Great Pyramid in movies with booby traps and everything. But not really booby traps, fail safes, checks and balances all over the place, man. The founding fathers were just pure brilliance in setting up this government. We've never seen anything like this on the planet. If the legislative branch act a fool, you got the executive branch. You got the judicial branch. You got the power of the purse with the House. The House has more people than this changed a little bit from when they set it up, but because the House used to elect the Senate. And I don't know if that's better or not. I actually think that might be better. But yeah, it definitely would be better. But you see all the checks and balances. Oh, the House is the Senate is acting a fool. Oh, well, the House can just say we're not giving you any money. The president's acting a fool. The House can say, well, we got elected by the people, and it doesn't matter about my political career. Being in the House is not supposed to be a long-term thing. So we're not going to fund the government until these things are met. No money to Ukraine. Michigan 16 dropped the charges. Yeah, we're making demands of the states. Michigan 16 dropped the charges. There's nothing illegal about that. Ain't nothing illegal about that. Georgia, done. Drop the charges against the 19. The J6ers, stop the prosecution, all that done. Jack Smith, defunded, done. Pardon all of them. Biden, pardon all the J6ers. Oh, you don't want to? That's fine. We won't be funding the government then. You can do whatever you want. There's nothing illegal about that. I've never thought about it before we got into this crazy times, but you can do it. So we're going to start something beautiful. We're going to end this chapter, though. That's the sooner we close this book, the book here on this chapter, the better. I'm just ranting now. That's my topic. Ray Studios, $2 super chat, says Zoomers will be the last majority white generation. Yeah. I think that they're trying to accelerate that. That's for sure. I guess that's pretty obvious. When you got like millions of people running through the country, and most of them are not white. And I don't really, my thing is that they just don't know Western culture. They don't know the Constitution. They can barely speak English. I give them credit for speaking English, though. I can't speak, Spanish fluently. So much respect to that. But if you don't respect the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, then I don't really have any love for you. I don't have tolerance for that. That's the only tolerance I have. I don't care if somebody's labeled as racist or misogynistic or transphobic or whatever the hell name you want to call. That doesn't matter to me. I'm tolerant of any position as long as we can get the fundamentals right. And they're trying to accelerate that. Why? Because they think the brown and black people are stupid. That's why. Why? So Ray said Zoomers will be the last majority white generation. Why? Because they think black and brown people are stupid. And that's why. They're not independent. If do you think that Chuck Schumer would be allowing these random Negroes into the country if he thought that they would threaten the power of his cabal? He would have Border Patrol out there with AKs or M16s or whatever. I don't know all those type of guns. He would have them at the Border Patrol on horseback and everything, chasing the hell up out of there. Remember when they tried to run up in Cuba? They thought that those were going to be Republican voting Cuba, and not even that, like Trump MAGA voting. Cubans, they were like, hell no, we can't have that. They were like, get the hell out of here. Cyan, thanks for stopping by. They'll just do another extinction anyway while getting nothing from the Dems. Yes. Yep. That's exactly what it would be. They also don't believe it. Yeah, and then you have the abortion argument. I don't know if I covered this, but Ayanna Pressley, she used to be a smart woman. I don't know what happened to her. It's this whole control. It's this whole control thing. So this is Ayanna Pressley. Let me share the screen. Ayanna Pressley states, abortion bans are rooted in white supremacy, perpetuate cycles of poverty, and puts lives at risk. We must continue to leverage every tool available to affirm, they like that word affirm abortion care as the human right that it is. So there's a lot to unpack with this. Abortion bans are rooted in white supremacy. How does it make sense for it to be rooted in white supremacy? I know this term has a very vague definition, but how does that make sense? They're trying to ban abortions so that there would be more black and brown babies born. So the take that you want more and black and brown baby infants, it's beyond black and brown, but that's how they view this whole thing. So if you want an abortion ban, I'm fine with disagreeing it. I'm pro-choice legislatively. But when you talk about the abortion ban as being rooted in white supremacy, actually abortions were rooted. You could make that argument. I don't even like these terms because you got to be very specific. Is somebody really a white supremacist? But I think pretty clearly with the way that abortions basically started as far as being promoted out there, Planned Parenthood, that could be more described as white supremacy. Not the take of, I would like you to value your life better. I would like you to value your family life better. And I would like you to figure out and have that infant. And we think that will make your natural instincts kick in. And that's the right thing to do. That's not white supremacy. It's just not. There's just no way you can even if you twist it into some type of critical race theory definition of white supremacy, where I'm a white supremacist, it still doesn't apply. So this is, again, attack of the bald black women. All you need is a bald black woman and any idea is legit. Abortion bans are rooted in white supremacy. They perpetuate cycles of poverty and puts. So here's the real white supremacist. She thinks that black people are so inept that having a baby will perpetuate a cycle of poverty. That's how she feels like black people cannot get out of it. Puts lives at risks. There was, I think it was, what's her name from The View, had a crazy clip, I don't have it handy, where she basically said the same thing. We must continue to leverage every tool available to affirm. We have to affirm abortion care now. What does abortion care mean? Killing an infant. That's what they're trying to call it, is abortion care. It's a human right. Everything's a human. Everything that they believe is a human. There's so much on this tweet, man. There's So much on that little tweet. Now it's a human right. It's a human right to be able to kill an infant. Now, I do believe that that choice should be between the mother and the doctor. The infant is inside the mother. But that is a weird way to phrase it. It is an unfortunate incident if someone has to go down that route. Same people that want to open up grocery stores. Who wouldn't trust them to open up a grocery store for you? Ray Studios, thank you. $5 super chat. Guarantee they wouldn't allow Cubans or Polish people in the country. Why? Because those groups of people are extremely conservative. Threat to power. Ray is absolutely right. As soon as you have anybody in that, is conservative, talking about, deeply religious, and not really amenable to some of these leftist ideas, that's the second it would be a wrap on immigration. Thank you, Ray. Metalopoly says, you don't want us deleting black babies. You're racist. Ayanna Presley. I don't even know what's real or more. I saw that and I was like, that has to be a parody account. Jay Bett says, the only other real thing that unites U.S. citizens besides the Constitution and U.S. flag is language, American English. By corrupting it, equal anti-American form of Babel. Yes. Really, really solid point. We've seen definitions change. We're even seeing the definition of rape change a little bit, which is a heinous crime in its traditional definition, of course. But we're even seeing that expand with some of the Russell Brand allegations, because I've been kind of looking at it a little bit deeper, some more disturbing than others. But when the allegations brought up of rape, and I'm like, wait a second, that wasn't what I thought it was. It was almost like regret or maybe mental abuse, kind of verbal abuse. That's a little bit different. Not that that's good, but like these words are very strong words, and do they mean anything? The language is being twisted. They wouldn't have been able to do anything with the pandemic if they didn't call it a vaccine. Wouldn't have been able to do it. So I appreciate that Tower of Babel reference. Thank you, Jay Babb. Metalopoly says Muslims took the pride flags down after they got power in that town of Michigan. That was pretty funny. Yeah, I did see that. I did not want to see them. I think they were flying flags from their home countries. I did not want to see that. You can go ahead and fly an American flag, but while you're going after the LGBTQ idolatry, you're based. Yeah, gotcha. All right, y'all, appreciate y'all. I'm going to be out, man. These crickets are pissing me off. Hopefully they're not too annoying. Thanks for checking it out. I'm going to try to do at least a segment every night. We'll see, but I will announce it. My apologies to Cyan and others. I think I missed 2 nights in a row. I'm just conked out, knocked out. I drank coffee and then fell asleep. So now the coffee at night, it's just a drug. The coffee at night is now just to be normal at night. Not even hype. Not even hype. So I got to take a break from it and then go back to it to get the caffeine to get me going. But yeah, thanks a lot for stopping by. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to upload more segments and check it out. You can go to the Discord if you want to keep the chat going. Cyan, Metalopoly, others are on there. Great Discord. Let's go to the Discord before I'm out, actually. Let's go and look, because there's just some great stuff being brought up in here. I'm just really... Let me just check. Let's check in with the Discord. And let me do a link for the chat, because there were some great stories in there. I haven't had a chance to fully unpack a lot of these I want to talk about. And if you're in the Discord posted, I want to prioritize the... Melopi says he loves crickets. I appreciate you. I actually normally don't mind them, because it's almost like it's like nature. But when you're in your basement trying to do a live, it's like Okay, bro. Like, I know you want to have sex, but just hold off for a second. There's like 10 of them in here. I will have to call an exterminator. That's just foul. I don't even know how they even get in here, but whatever. So the Discord, can I minimize this? I don't even know how to minimize this stuff. But when you go to the Discord, oh, we got Fetterman jokes in the Discord. Cyan was on Rumble today. See, I forgot to check in my Rumble. Rumble, I don't know what. I appreciate StreamYard. They replied to me. It was like, they can't get Rumble in there unless they integrate it. Let's integrate Rumble, y'all. This is it's rough to do a live and have to look at 2 different chats. Okay. Okay, so I see it in there, Cyan. Thank you. Appreciate you. I am gonna do YouTubes now. I was doing the YouTube and then switching over to Rumble. It's just kind of annoying to me. So but I'm gonna keep promoting the Rumble. The Rumble is growing. Cyan helped. I mean, got over 400 people in the Rumble now. 400 followers. I don't like that term, like 400 viewers or something. There should be a better term than followers. But 419 people signed up on Rumble to watch the videos. Appreciate that. This Discord in here, Cyan says, hey, Cyrus's live stream, want to come join the chat. Thank you, Mendelapi, brother in the YouTube. Let's do the YouTube for right now. Leroy Wicker, wave hi, got new sign up just now in the Discord. Appreciate you, Ray Studios with the joke. Here is John Fetterman in November 2022 running for Senate. Tattoos. Damn, what is going on? Bruh. This is weird, man. Is this really a thing? This Fetterman thing? I don't know. I don't have a take because I just don't have enough knowledge. Y'all, is this a real thing? Everybody's talking about the fake Fetterman. Ray, you can obviously chime in. This is Ray's. Something is off, man. Why does he have... Can somebody explain this to me? Is that a real picture where he has tattoos on his arms? And then now he doesn't? Bruh, what is going on? What is going on? Tacos. The classic Biden Fetterman 2024. It's a no-brainer. That is a classic joke. The porn stash is the porn stash is the giveaway. No, man, for real though. No, for real. For real. Are these serious pictures, yo? Seriously. What's happening here? Is this real or not? Did he really have tattoos on his forearms? And clearly in this picture, there's no tattoos. Wait, what? His face looks different. I mean, if this guy has to win an Oscar for the best actor ever, but what? There's no, like, of course, if they were going to fake, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This could be my cognitive dissonance, but there's no way that they would fake a Fetterman and they wouldn't copy the tattoos. Obviously, you would copy the tattoos. Right? I mean, there's no chance. There's no chance that this is a fake Fetterman. I can't go with that. So Ray says they are real. Go back and watch our election stream and see. Yeah, I could go back and watch that. But Ray, yeah, so we have it on video from our own stream. But why would they bring a fake Fetterman with no tattoos? Has anybody answered why this one doesn't have tattoos? This one is, I'm going to be completely, I'm just like, you feel like you kind of left we talk about leaving the Matrix. I don't know if I'm fully left the Matrix. I really don't, because I refuse to believe. My cognitive dissonance has me refusing to believe that this is a fake Fetterman. There's no way. Do you understand what the ramifications of that are? If this dude right here is not really Fetterman, do you understand what's really going on and the ramifications for our country and our society? It's worse than it's being over. I mean, what that projects for the future. There's no way. There's no way. And then they wouldn't even have the energy to fake the tattoos. That's really disrespectful. If you're going to do a fake Fetterman, at least copy the tattoos. Some of the stuff talking about in the chat, Tim Pool had Kevin Sorbo on. I listened to some of that. It was a good episode. Sorbo's studio. So Cyan on Discord says Kevin Sorbo's upcoming latest film titled Miracle in East Texas, based on a true story. Oh, wow. Here's the link. So if you go to the Discord, you have a link to Kevin Sorbo's latest film. Type in your zip code for the closest theater showing. Good. I know him as Hercules. People know him as otherwise. Metalopoly posted this in the Discord. And this was the discussion about the George Washington statue. Back in 2017, Donald Trump was talking about, hey, statue of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were next. NBC News said, why statues of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson aren't next, as president suggested, to be removed. And fast forward 6 years, NYC to consider removing statues of George Washington, create reparations task force amid budget cuts. And then they already removed, as we've discussed, the Thomas Jefferson statue in New York, but there's some other ones they want to remove. So we're seeing the discussion in the Discord there. It's a great discussion. I am still tripping about the Fetterman stuff. I don't know what to think about that. Cyan said, and here I thought, $2 super chat, thank you, says, and here I thought you had a cricket ambient going. I do. It's a cricket ambient going. It is. It's just not on purpose. I'll leave out one of my favorite songs, Mocha Only, Crickets. I think it's only appropriate. I'm going to try to play this one here. This was so perfect. My goodness. Because it's going right with like the real crickets. Ray Studio says, what's next? Are they going to destroy Washington and Jefferson's resting places? What a great take by Ray Studios. His like, what's the next part? What's next? Are they going to destroy Washington and Jefferson's resting places? Why wouldn't they? I think the eliminating the bail in Illinois, what they really want to do is, because there would still be the potential for bail depending on the crime. I'm going to go into that in detail. But what they really want to do is go after certain people with bail. So they basically have done black good, brown good. If you believe in the black good, brown good, then you're good, even if you're white. If you don't, bail, then you won't be treated the same. So I think it's really like a modern day. They're trying to reverse Jim Crow in a way, in like even a worse way, is what I think it is. And yeah, of course they would go to Washington and Jefferson's resting place. They would disturb all that. It's a great take. Yeah, nothing is sacred to communists. This is Taco. Yep, they will. There's no limit to what their madness is, up to and including unliving people. But let me do a quick, before I do my mocha only crickets, let me do a quick cleanse. If you followed me on X, you've probably seen this already, but this is a great clip here. Just a perfect 1 minute clip. So well delivered. I wanted to give this dude some shine here. I don't even know who this is. Some TikToker. Just did an excellent job.
You know that Jesus didn't call us to live our best life. He didn't call us to have a perfect marriage and a nice house, power couple, beautiful family, great success, all that. He didn't call us to do all of that. What he called us to do was to actually lose our life. He said if we lose our lives, then we would gain it. And for many of us, we're still trying to hold on to our lives and find a way to make Jesus fit in it. But no, he asked for us to give it all up to him. Yes, we have to be crucified with Christ. That it is no longer I who live, but it is Christ who lives through me. And the reason why for a lot of us, Jesus isn't living through us is because a lot of us are still holding on to what we find dear. No, you're going to need to die first in order to resurrect. If you're not willing to die to yourself, then you cannot rise in Christ.
Well said. Well said. I'm gonna be out. Mocha only, Chief.
Since that deal was a bipartisan deal was struck for certain top line spending numbers for all of the funding bills that have to be passed to make the budget, keep the government running. The Senate has basically been delivering those and passing them by big 91-7 bipartisan majorities. The House today looks like it's falling apart. You've already got 17 no votes in that House Republican caucus saying we're not passing anything. What do you think's happening here?
Yeah, like I was very proud of my colleagues, because they're really about governance. That's what it is. And on the other, the House, the whatever they call themselves, Team America or whatever they call themselves, I just like bring your vote. Otherwise, they need to go hump a different leg.
You were in, you drove your, I think it was a Ford from Braddock, how things have operated since that deal was.
Who has accused British comedian and presenter Russell Brand of sexual misconduct, has described his response to the allegations as insulting.
You're telling me that you think you have the right to just fuck anyone, anywhere, anytime?
Yes, there it is.
Saying.
That's right. Not so eloquently as you just put it, sweetheart, but ultimately, yeah, that is... Oh, no, not the shirt. Oh, take my eyes, but not the shirt.
We are calling this woman Alice. She spoke to Women's Hour on Radio 4. A woman who has accused British comedian and presenter Russell Brand of sexual misconduct has described his response to the allegations as insulting.
You're telling me that you think you have the right to just fuck anyone, anywhere, anytime?
Yes, there it is.
Saying.
That's right. Not so eloquently as you just put it, sweetheart, but ultimately, yeah.
Also learning of a major development. It turns out Hunter Biden has a mugshot. Back in July, when Hunter first appeared in court, his lawyers say he was photographed and fingerprinted. Now, primetime sources tell us that federal inmates rarely have their mugshots released to the public, only in cases where the federal inmate escapes. And a leak would be very unlikely. The U.S. Marshals have a rigorous digital footprint. So, what is so special about a mugshot that they don't want us to see? Did he smile? Did he look defiant? In light of transparency, this mugshot must be released. Primetime has put out a Freedom of Information Act request with the Department of Justice and the U.S. Marshals to have Hunter Biden's mugshot released to the public.
Spending, we need to get our reckless spending under control. Bring your case to the American people before it's too late. Here to discuss, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, Texas Congressman Chip Roy. Chip, let me start with you tonight. So up until, I guess, some point today, earlier today, you did have a stopgap measure. You had your House Freedom Caucus sponsoring a deal, making a deal with the more moderate mainstream caucus. That would impose an 8% spending cut on federal agencies, not including national not including the national defense budget, the Department of Veterans Affairs, or any amounts designated for disaster relief, and that would fund the government through October 31st. So my question is, what happened to that deal, and where do we go from here?
Yeah, Sean, good to be on. I mean, first of all, everything you just said, we should, as Republicans, have already passed 12 appropriations bills that would deal with all of those policy issues you just described and cut the overall spending level. That is what we should have done. We have not done that. So now we're sitting here in September, and we're trying to figure out what we need to do next. Today, unfortunately, we voted down a Department of Defense appropriations bill that would have cut the abortion tourism, cut transgender surgeries, cut chief diversity officers, cut diversity, equity, inclusion because of the great work we did trying to force conservatives onto appropriations committees. And similarly to the question you just asked, we put forward a bill that would have cut spending to all of the non-defense, non-veteran bureaucracy by 8% and attached to it H2, the strongest border security bill we've ever passed to try to check Joe Biden's open borders. We wanted to tell Democrats, you should either shut down the border or you're going to deal with a shutdown government. Unfortunately, now we are in danger of turning over home field advantage to the Democrats and giving Democrats power to make the decisions next week rather than doing our job. I think that's a mistake. Some of my colleagues in good faith, including the one who's just about to talk, who's a friend of mine, I think we made a bad choice this week. I think we could have moved forward. Now we got to figure out how to set a top line number and try to move appropriations bills like we should have done all the way back in July.
All right. The House tried voting on the rule for the DOD defense appropriations here. Matt, was that voting against even bringing up the bill or having a discussion and voting on it and the 170 amendments that I guess you can add to a bill like that? And let's talk about what's on your agenda here. You are a leading critical voice of Speaker McCarthy. What do you want, and how is this going to proceed? And do you agree that Republicans win or lose together, one way or the other? There won't be some winners and some losers. You either win together or lose together.
I can assure you that Speaker McCarthy deserves all the criticism and more because it's his fault that we haven't considered individual appropriations bills up to this point. And that's actually not a bug of the system. It's a feature because they want to jam us at the end of the government running out of money. And then under that time pressure and the fear of a shutdown, centralize power so that the lobbyists and the special interests who own Kevin McCarthy, who give him all the money, get to make the decisions. Now, today, I agreed with Chip Roy that we should have proceeded on to the defense appropriations bill. I would have voted for that bill. We were not able to proceed because some of my colleagues didn't feel like Kevin McCarthy was in compliance with the agreement in January to constrain himself to a top-line spending level that did not embrace the ballooning budgets of Bidenism and COVIDism. So my plan is not to lump every disparate agency of government into one vote on a continuing resolution, but instead to only review these things separately and independently. That is the serious way to go about this work. Chip is right. We will have a shutdown, but I don't believe that an 8% 30-day cut would have yielded the programmatic reforms that would create any long-term savings. The only way to do that is open amendments, individual bills, no more continuing resolutions or omnibus.
We have the moderate wing now threatening a clean CR, which would be a loss for